All right, good morning. My name is Sam Fisher, and I'll be the host for our session today. I'm one of the national account managers for Veeam in our Veeam Cloud and Service Provider program. We really appreciate y'all joining us today for this broadcast. The Veeam Cloud Service Provider program, I'm sure many of you are aware of the program and probably part of the program, but it is one of the fastest growing pieces of the Veeam business. Lots of opportunity for our partners, and a great chance to provide some big value for our customers out there. So today's session, we're going to be talking about some of the different offerings that we have in the VCSP program, and it's specifically around for our service providers, those service providers that are already part of the program, those that are considering part of the program, and then also for resellers that are taking a look at a managed service type of offering and how they can be able to leverage that as part of growing their business. So really wanted to start off by talking about the market opportunity for all of us out there. As many of you already know, two of the top workloads that customers are moving to the cloud are backup as a service and DR as a service out there, creating a tremendous opportunity for Veeam and our partners and the value for their customers out there. And when you look at this, the customers that are already leveraging a managed backup service out there, over 56% of them are looking to leverage some type of as a service with backup and recovery as part of that. So it just extends the opportunity for all of us that are using a managed backup service to extend that for additional revenue, additional opportunities for you. Now, some of the things we want to talk about today is, first of all, who we are, what we do, how you can use Veeam into your business to grow your business, and then why you should be considering Veeam as the solution for those offerings for your customers out there. There's a tremendous amount of excitement, momentum building in the Veeam Cloud Service Provider program. Lots of customers leveraging our service providers out there, and lots of growth for our providers. So I think this is a tremendous opportunity for you to be able to leverage some of the new offerings we have to grow your business. And we're going to start off with a poll question here. Betsy, I believe you're going to kick off the poll here. Do you want to make some comments on it?
Sure, thanks, Sam. Thanks for kicking this off. Yeah, we want to try to make this session as interactive as possible, given the format and the number of attendees that we have. So, as Sam said, please ask questions as we go along. You can do that in the question panel of the webinar platform. We also do have a few polls, starting with this one, which is intended to get a feel for who's dialed into the webinar today. So Leah, can you confirm that the attendees are seeing the webinar or the polling questions?
Yep, this is live and people are already voting.
Okay, great. I don't get to see that with what I'm looking at, so good to know. So yeah, the question here, and this is one where you can pick any or all of the answer choices that apply to you. So the first question is, how, if at all, do you currently use Veeam? So for example, are you using Veeam today to back up virtual machines in customer environments? So this is where the customer has their own virtual machines, could be on-prem, could be in remote offices or branch offices, maybe in a colo, maybe in a third-party cloud, not your own cloud, but you're actually doing backups of those virtual machines with Veeam Backup and Replication. Veeam Backup and Replication is our flagship product, Veeam's flagship product, which supports both VMware and Hyper-V, and does VM level backups of those machines. So that's the first answer choice. If you're using VBR to back up customer VMs in customer environments, choose that, check that box. Maybe you're using Veeam to back up workstations and servers in customer environments. So, the physical support, support for public cloud workloads. We talk about that being new to Veeam. It's actually not brand new. We released Veeam Endpoint Backup back in April of 2015, and that was really our first foray into Windows OS level backup. So perhaps you're already using Veeam Endpoint Backup to do workstation and server backups for your customers. There was a free version of Veeam Endpoint Backup, and then there was also a licensed and fully supported version available through ConnectWise that integrates with the ConnectWise Automate or LabTech, what's more commonly known as LabTech console. So if you're using Veeam Endpoint Backup free or maybe Veeam Endpoint Backup for LabTech, go ahead and check that second box. The third and fourth boxes are really around your use of Veeam to back up virtual machines or other tenant machines that you host. So you're a hosting provider and you use Veeam VBR to back up tenant VMs, or again, maybe you're using Veeam Endpoint Backup, or you're already using the new agents to back up bare metal servers or ESXi free or other hypervisors that you've got in your hosting environment. So if you're a hosting provider and using Veeam, you know, check the third or fourth box, whichever would apply to you. And then the last option is that you're not currently using Veeam. So it looks like we've got 81% of the folks who have voted, so thank you. I'm going to go ahead and close that and then share that. Great. So yeah, so not surprisingly, lots of VMs in being backed up in customer environments as well as in hosting environments, and even some workstation and server backup already happening. Great. So we'll go on to Sam, to our next bit of information about a little bit of background on who Veeam is.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Betsy. All right, first of all, I just want to kind of give updates on who we are. I think most of you probably already know Veeam, but I'm going to give some updates for those that may not. First of all, we're about a 10-year-old company, tremendous growth in the marketplace around virtualized backup and replication. And as Betsy just mentioned, we've also stepped into the physical side of it as well. Just tremendous growth over the last 10 years for Veeam as a company. We are privately held, self-funded, so really we're in control of our own destiny here, really being able to make our own decisions and all the new developments and everything that we're doing. So that is something that we're independent, privately held, doing things for our customers and our partners. And the other key thing is we are 100% channel focused. This is very big for our partner ecosystem out there, from the resale side as well as our service providers. We truly leverage our ecosystem as our route to market for all of our customer base. And talking about the privately held and self-funded and the growing aspect of Veeam, you know, continue year-over-year growth, the 600 million and growing. I will tell you that we're expecting this over the next 3 years to get to that, next couple of years to get to the 1 billion, and then in the next 3 to 5 years to get to the 1.5 billion. So you can just see significant growth that Veeam is going through in the marketplace, and all this really is being driven by our partner ecosystem. Talk a little bit about Veeam by the numbers. I'm not going to hit on all the numbers, but just to highlight a few. You know, probably one of the main ones is this 255,000 customers worldwide. This is just phenomenal, of the amount of customers that are using our solutions and the number that we're growing every month out there, whether they're in the SMB market, the commercial market, the enterprise market, growing in each segment month over month, year over year there. And in, you know, in the past, you know, Veeam has been known as, you know, kind of an SMB commercial play, but you can also see the growth that we're looking at in the Fortune 500 and the Global 2000 space out there. So evolving into the big enterprise marketplace as well. And then the one that, quite honestly, we're very proud of is our Net Promoter Score. And basically what this says is a customer's willingness to talk about your solution or our solution to their colleagues and peers in the market. And this plus 73 of a Veeam Promoter Score is, you know, in the same realm as Apple, Southwest Airlines, other companies like that. So we're truly best of breed in the customer's mind of how they're leveraging and utilizing Veeam. Now, what do we do? Basically, availability for the always-on enterprise. The availability piece is key because from a backup and recovery and replication side of this, being able to get to that data, you know, having that always-on for the always-on enterprise out there, that is what we provide for our customers and partners. I want to talk a little bit about some of the solution sets, and I'm not going to go into detail. That's what Betsy and Anthony will do, but just to highlight a couple of things here. The Veeam Availability Platform, which is really the foundation of the availability suite to provide all the backup replication components there. But one of the things that we're going to be talking about today are the Veeam Agents and the physical support that we have for the environments. This is the new announcements we've had over the last few months going to market, currently with our solutions around the physical space. This gives us the opportunity to provide the full solution for our customers out there, both physical and virtual, from a backup and replication standpoint. And the one thing that I want to mention is for the remainder of this year, until the end of December, these are available free for our service providers. And the key here is this gives you an opportunity to go leverage these solutions for your customers, providing services around that, and make all of that as margin. It's a great opportunity for you to get this established into your environment, provide the value to your customers, and make lots of money doing it. All right, so Betsy, we have another poll question here.
Yes, we do. So let me go ahead and get that kicked off. So our next poll is just trying to gauge, how folks on the webinar today might be thinking about possibly using the new Veeam Agents. So, some options here. Maybe you're currently offering a managed backup service with some other backup software, maybe a StorageCraft or Datto or a Sigra or Axion. There's lots of them out there. So maybe you're looking at the Veeam Agents as a replacement for your current backup software. Perhaps you're happy with your current backup software. You've got some customers on it, some scenarios where it really works well, but maybe you're looking at the Veeam Agents as maybe a supplement to what you're currently doing. So in addition to offering the managed backup service that you already do, maybe adding a Veeam-powered managed backup service as another option for your customers. The third option really speaks to not currently providing managed backup services, but now that you like Veeam, you use it for virtual. Now that we all have the physical and public cloud backup support, maybe you're looking at ramping up a new line of business, getting into the endpoint backup business, the physical server backup business, and so forth. The fourth option there is saying, okay, well, my primary interest in the agents is I really want to host agent backups offsite for Veeam customers. So this would be a scenario where an organization has licensed the Veeam agents themselves, and they want to send their backups offsite, and you want to be able to host those for them. Maybe also provide some recovery capabilities in the cloud. So we obviously have that capability for VM backups, and now we also have that for agent backups as well. So I'm going to give people just about 20 more seconds or 10 more seconds to answer here. We're just over the 50% mark. This is a single answer. You have to pick the answer that best describes your interest. So realize that there's opportunity in a number of different areas. For example, you could offer a managed backup service for organizations who don't want to license the software themselves, so you might provide them a turnkey managed backup service. But then maybe you would also leverage your Veeam expertise and your infrastructure and so forth to also host agent backups for those customers who or organizations who want to do their own backups, but just need the offsiting of the backups. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close this and share our results. So interesting. I know it can be tough when you can only pick one answer, but interesting mix there. And I think it's always fun to see how you answered and compared that to how some other folks answered. So just moving right along here, I know everybody's probably anxious to get into some of the technical details about what we've got with the new agents. So just kind of to frame that. Several new opportunities for our VCSP partners with the agents. Of course, the big thing is now you can provide Veeam-powered backup for physical devices. So maybe there are servers out there that can't be virtualized for one reason or another, regs, hardware keys, proprietary wiring kind of things. So now you can actually use Veeam to back up those physical servers. Can also now use Veeam to back up endpoints. Obviously, that's a really important piece of the puzzle here. Here we've got an executive with a glass of water next to his laptop. So that maybe is a disaster waiting to happen. So for that scenario and others, now you can use Veeam to back up those endpoints and then obviously recover them very quickly and with a lot of flexibility in how you do recovery. And Anthony will be talking a little bit more about that. And the third and final thing, I guess, is cloud. Now you can use Veeam to back up workloads that are running in the cloud, including workloads that are running in AWS or Azure or Google. So basically the agents let you perform an OS level backup of those workloads. So you can actually deploy the Veeam agent to the machine in the public cloud and get a Veeam backup of that. So obviously with so many workloads moving to the cloud, this is a really important capability, and one could even argue that's more important than support for traditional physical servers. The other thing, and we mentioned it briefly, is that there's an opportunity also with the cloud. If the primary workload is still out of the cloud, you can use the cloud to host the backups offsite and even do some recovery there as well. So cloud is both backing up workloads running in the cloud, but then also leveraging the cloud for those on-prem and other workloads, actually leveraging the cloud to offsite backups and perform recoveries. Now, before we go too much further, I do want to address a question that you might have, and that's like, okay, this all sounds kind of promising, but what does it cost? So it really depends. It depends on your country, your currency, and really what is your expected usage. What we're showing here is kind of, I'll call it worst case pricing. These are the highest prices, right? This is the MSRP for what we call a no commit monthly rental. So as a VCSP, you would rent the software by the machine, by the month. You would report usage every month, and then you would your fees would be associated with that usage. As I said, this is what we call a no commit rental, so it's not discounted for any kind of volume or any kind of commitment to use the products over time. So most of our VCSP partners are on what we call a point plan, which is kind of similar to point plans in the VMware program, the vCloud Air Network, formerly VSPP program, or even in Microsoft SPLA. So that's the idea where you're going to get a discount based on the volume of your usage. You can see here that agent for Windows and agent for Linux. There are two editions, paid editions of those, one for server and one for workstation. The server, as you might expect, is priced a little higher than the workstation. Agent for Windows and agent for Linux are priced the same. Very similar to how our pricing for VBR works, that it's the same for VMware and for Hyper-V. The Cloud Connect component of this, if you're using Cloud Connect now, you're used to paying by virtual machine. Well, in terms of being able to host agent backups, there's a special SKU for that. And you can see the prices that for each of those as well. Veeam Backup for Microsoft Office 365, that currently we're at version 1.0, and we only offer end user commercial pricing for that. Version 1.0 really doesn't provide the capabilities that a service provider needs to use that to offer a service, a multi-tenant, highly scalable kind of service to their end customers. But that is in the works, and that will all be available with version 1.5. There's actually a beta of that now, of version 1.5, and we expect GA in the next couple of months. So we'll announce the pricing when version 1.5 is available, but it will be a per user per month rental, and you might expect it to be in the $2 range, $2 per user per month, again on a no commit. Okay, and then we've got our final polling question. Let me open that up. And, our next topic is going to be, some reasons why you might want to consider Veeam for new or additional managed backup services. So before we get into that, wanted to just do a quick poll about what concerns, if any, do you have about your current backup software. And this is a multi-select, so you can select any or all that apply. The first couple of choices have to do around the functionality of the software that you're currently using, and do you have any concerns about the backup functionality or reliability? Do you have any concerns about any kind of recovery limitations? Obviously, the point of backup is recovery, right? So we need to have both good, solid, and reliable backup functionality, but also flexible and fast recovery capabilities as well. Of course, it's not just about the software, it's about costs, right? License costs, but also all the ancillary costs, sort of total cost of ownership. Am I spending a lot of cycles to manage the software? Am I able to grow my managed backup business without having to also grow my admin staff? Obviously, you want to be able to get a little bit better leverage there. Is storage a concern? Is there a lot of storage that's required, or is it proprietary storage or sort of a lock-in storage situation? Finally, my vendor. These are important partnerships. Does my vendor compete with me? In the case of Veeam, we don't offer any kind of cloud services or managed services. Instead, we really work to enable and in fact rely on our service provider partners to do that for us. Maybe you have tech support issues, maybe new product releases are slow, or platform support is slow. And of course, the last option there is that you don't have any particular concerns, but just learning about other options that are out there. So great, I'm going to go ahead and close that and share the results. Yeah, interesting. The backup, the recovery functionality concerns are even greater than the backup concerns. Cost, yep, it's a competitive business out there, so always tough to maintain those margins. So cost, we understand, is a big issue for service providers. Some vendor concerns, and then some folks here just to learn. So appreciate you joining us today with that. So my last slide before we get into Anthony's presentation, where he's going to talk about some of the Veeam technology, is just why we think that you should consider Veeam, and we would ask you to consider Veeam. It's really three things. Of course, it's the Veeam technology, right? As Sam said, first and foremost, we are a software company, so we are all about being very technology and very market driven, and really with the flexibility to provide a lot of innovation. And I think that translates to really important things for service providers. So a lower TCO, the ability to offer backup and recovery capabilities that differentiate you then from other providers that your customers or prospective customers might be looking at. And really at the end of the day, availability is pretty important, right? You need to make sure that you're protecting your customers and by extension your business. So I think the Veeam technology really goes a long way with that. Our partner program, I think, is another reason that Veeam can be a good partner for you. As I said before, we don't compete with our partners. We're very flexible in terms of how you can deploy and use and monetize our software, complete flexibility for how you price and package your offerings. And we also give you great exposure to our customers and prospects. So we have a lot of people who go to the Veeam website. Some of them are looking for software to replace their current backup software. Others are looking to replace their current backup processes, and they want to get out of the backup business, right? They'd rather turn that over to an expert and move from owning and operating their own backup software to using a managed backup service. So that's a great opportunity for you to get in front of those folks who are going to the Veeam website. We have a directory where they can go and find, they want Veeam, but they can go and find a Veeam-powered service. So that's great exposure that you can get through your partnership with Veeam. And then finally, there's just a huge market opportunity. Again, 56% of organizations who use managed services say they want to use a managed backup service. So that's a huge market opportunity out there, and Veeam is a great way to pursue that. We have great reputation in the market, great awareness, a lot of momentum. Not only we're a big player in the backup space, but we're a growing player. So there's lots of big players, but they're a little bit legacy and not really tracking in the right way. But Veeam is definitely growing and set to grow even more. We've grown a lot just with our VMware and Hyper-V backup, and now with this considerable expansion of our capabilities, including into the cloud, we expect that crazy growth to just to continue. So with that, I am going to give Anthony control of the presentation, and he will talk to you about the new Veeam technology in our new agents.
Alrighty, Betsy, let's just make sure I've got control here. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining this webinar. So, yeah, the poll results are really interesting. I think the fact that a lot of you guys have actually said that you're currently using some sort of technology to be able to back up your client VMs. The agents certainly supplement that and offer new revenue streams. So I'm going to go into a little bit about the agents. I'm just going to try and forward the screen there. There we go. Okay, so basically the agents offered 3 challenges. So the reason why we're actually using agents is to respond to the market that basically said we needed the ability to offer a solution for non-virtualized systems. Veeam did very well for a long time. We were born out of the virtualization piece, and with that, we obviously supported off the bat hypervisors, VMware first, then Hyper-V, and we did that via agentless technology. And that was good for the market that we were kind of targeting initially. Even then, though, we came and had questions from our customers saying we need to be able to back up and protect and make available these systems that weren't virtualized. These are the physical servers that sit in the corner. We obviously understand that the world is not fully 100% virtualized, but with that, we needed a way to be able to do that. So the agent concept basically came from there. The second challenge that we looked at was how do we deal with roaming laptops, roaming data. So this is like if you've got an executive on the road or if you've got a mobile workforce which has critical information running on their system locally, how do you protect that data? So that was also something that we needed. Obviously that can't be backed up through your typical Veeam backup replication mechanisms. We needed an agent solution for that. And then probably more importantly, what we found out is that even though the conversation around agents started in the physical space, it's really translated over the last couple of years into the public cloud and other hypervisor scenarios. So this is where clients of yours, partners, even your own individual internal IT are putting workloads in public clouds and on other hypervisors that might not be traditional VMware or Hyper-V instances. So the agents really address the ability to cover these 3 challenges and be able to protect those workloads that strive across these 3. So if we look at the definition of an agent really, in a sense, not kind of preaching the converted here, we all know, what an operating system agent is, but it's a persistent bit of software that runs continually within that operating system. So it's an application as such. It's working there with a daemon, doing its thing on the actual computer. Again, it's required for the physical servers, the workstations, and the endpoints. Also required for workloads running in public clouds, like obviously Microsoft Azure, AWS, or other public clouds. And that public cloud could actually be your own cloud, if you guys are running infrastructure as a service, or your competitors' infrastructure as a service. There's opportunity now to basically have the agent protect these workloads as mentioned before. And again, we're talking about the mobility there. And what I'm actually going to do as I finish off to round off is I'm going to show you the opportunity that exists via a slide where I break out the existing opportunity that exists today with Cloud Connect, if you're using Cloud Connect, and how the agents can supplement that for Windows and Linux. So again, just to finish off on why agents, it's a great way to interact with the public cloud, as I've talked about. It gives us better interaction with physical servers and workstations. But I really want to sort of highlight that it's still superior to use agentless for most virtualized systems. So today, if you guys are backing up your Hyper-V or your VMware environments with backup and replication, we're not saying go and use the agents, because you could actually do that. The agent being in guest can actually back up that machine. But we're still saying that for those environments, agentless is still very much superior. With regards to agents and where we've got to this point in time is we released Veeam Endpoint Backup free in 2015. And this was our first foray into agents. And hopefully you guys have had a bit of a play with this at different times. But if not, it was our first look at being able to offer an endpoint backup, which was an agent-based backup. And through the success, we had over 1 million downloads of endpoint backup. And so what that 1 million downloads represents to you guys being potential or current or existing partners is that is a huge total addressable market to hit. Okay, when you think about those endpoints that are out there and the addressable market that exists, these are now customers that you can target. Much like as cloud providers, you can target customers using Cloud Connect for the installs of backup replication, which has the Cloud Connect capabilities built in. All of a sudden, with these endpoint backups that are out there, and by the way, we actually enabled the automatic update to our new agents as of a couple of weeks ago. There's a really huge opportunity there to take that and actually offer those services and consume the storage that's required to actually suffice the service. So I'm just going to go through a couple of the editions. So obviously at the moment we have a Windows agent and a Linux agent. So with the Windows agent we have 3 editions, and the endpoint edition basically slots in and upgrades to this free edition that we've got here. So we've got the capabilities there as we walk across. So the free edition is really everything that the endpoint had. It's got a few benefits though. It's got instant recovery for Hyper-V VMs. It's got direct restore to Microsoft Azure functionality, and it's got some good security features in there. Now to step up into the workstation version, that's everything that the free version is, but it offers a little bit more. It offers the ability to do some remote configuration and management. So if you're looking to deploy this to multiple systems or a number of systems, quite critically, it's got technical support, fully supported. It actually plugs in as well straight into more advanced Windows file systems like ReFS, and actually does some smarts with ReFS, just like we've been able to put into our backup replication product. And it has synthetic full options as well. Now the server version is everything the workstation version is, but it has a few key differences, obviously, as you would expect for a server workload. So it's fully application aware, which means that you'll be able to do full VSS backups of Exchange systems, SharePoint, SQL, Active Directory. It does transaction log backups and does guest file indexing and searching as well. But I think one of the key points as well to tie into the cloud opportunity is that it backups directly to Cloud Connect. So the workstation version and the server version both connect into Cloud Connect. And there we go, we can see it highlighted there. So again, very important to understand that now with these workstation and server agents, you can now offer services that offer those workloads to be backed up into a Cloud Connect repository. Moving on to the Linux agent. As the screen goes through. Linux agent was released before the Windows agent actually. It was released in December or January of earlier this year or late last year. And it's a really functional product. It actually covers 11 Linux distributions at the moment, so it's very flexible, very easy to install. Linux is one of those operating systems, obviously, that's around. We know that. Service providers have lots of Linux systems in their management. I mean, if you look at AWS, it's mostly Linux. You look at even Azure at the moment, the amount of Linux instances that are being provisioned actually outstrip the amount of Windows instances. So there's a great demand to be able to back up these systems. And traditionally, we understand, if you guys have been around Linux, to back up the Linux systems, it's kind of old school, right? There's command lines, there's rsyncs, and that's all well and good for those hardcore Linux guys, but it was kind of inflexible as well. It kind of did a few things, and there's been some very, very popular and public instances of where those traditional Linux backup systems have failed. Okay, so what we're offering with the agent is more of a backup and replication way to actually handle backups for Linux. So if you look across the versions again, it does everything that you'd expect in an agent. It's got integration with Veeam Backup replication. So at the moment you can back up the free workstation and server version to a VBR server. And then as you move up the chain, it's got support for multiple jobs in the server version, a few pre and post for snapshotting scripts if you wanted to do some basic MySQL freezing and backups. And it's got guest file indexing as well, and obviously some guest technical support there. Now, the one thing this doesn't have over the Windows agent is it doesn't go to Cloud Connect, but that's about to change later in the year. So by the end of the year, we're actually going to sync up most of the functionality between the Windows agent and the Linux agent, and through the Linux agent, you are going to have the ability to back up to a Cloud Connect repository. So now that we've got agents out of the way, the way to actually before I go to the manageability, I just want to touch on Cloud Connect. So Veeam Cloud Connect, for those that don't know, is our backup as a service and replication as a service offering. And it really exists to cover 3 challenges. And those challenges are the ability to back up easily over the internet or over a WAN without the need for a VPN. Traditionally, networking is the hardest part to get right if you want to do some remote site backup. So thinking about the 3-2-1 rule with regards to backup, to get that one copy offsite, traditionally was kind of hard, kind of difficult. I had to set up all the networking connections. We've really taken that and made it as simple as you can ever make it with the Cloud Connect Backup. Multi-site protection is critical, and also for us to be able to offer our service providers the ability to offer backup as a service, but obviously also replication of a service through Cloud Connect replication. And just a little bit of an overview about how Cloud Connect looks architecturally. And again, it's a very, very logical diagram, but effectively we've got a Cloud Connect gateway, which is the endpoint where the agents or a Veeam Backup replication console can connect in and feed the backups in. And obviously these workloads are taken and stored in a Veeam Cloud Connect repository that's offsite. Just going forward now to agent manageability. So let's just make sure the screen progresses. Got a little bit of a lag here. I'm actually doing this from Australia, so I'm a long way away from you guys, but I'm trying to deal with the lag as it comes through. Okay. Betsy, I'm just having trouble forwarding this slide. Could you forward it for me? And go one more. Okay. There we go. I think I've got control again. Here we go. Okay, so it's gone forward. Right. Good. We're all in sync again. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so with regards to the agent manageability, what we've actually announced, and hopefully you guys have seen this, is we announced at Veeam on the availability of the RC or Veeam Availability Console. And it's an all-in-one management and visibility tool that we're offering to our service providers for free. So you guys can actually get this today in RC. It's about to GA fairly shortly, but at the moment there's an RC that you guys can download and test, but it's a free product that we're offering that offers these capabilities. And these capabilities include agent management. Just wait for them. Sorry, Betsy, can you forward again?
Try it now.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. Cool. Okay, there we go. We'll get this right. So the core functionality of the VAC. Simplified setup. So in terms of being able to deploy this management portal, again, it's what you know from Veeam. It's that simple next install, which deploys the platform. You can then remotely discover and deploy agents to your customer sites. You can manage and monitor your customer sites. And where this comes into play is if you guys are not only, say, VCSP partners offering Cloud Connect, but if you're MSPs or if you're a reseller partnering with an MSP, this console gives you the ability to manage and monitor your customer jobs. So customers can actually log in themselves as well. You can give a multi-tenant platform to them through the web console to be able to look at their jobs as they go along. It's got billing capability, and obviously I've mentioned that multi-tenancy. As we step through those features, being able to offer simplified onboarding, the flexible and store options make it really easy to set up. So you can deploy this in your own infrastructure that leverages the public cloud or another VCSP's cloud. Discovering. So in terms of how VAC goes out and discovers what's on a corporate network once it's deployed, it's got 3 different ways it can do that. So once it actually deploys a little agent to the remote site, and this is all done via Cloud Connect, by the way, as well. So I think one thing to highlight before we move any further is that Cloud Connect is central to everything that we're doing today with regards to our VCSP. So, we released it initially for Cloud Connect Backup, and then it became the functionality that Cloud Connect Replication was built upon, that you go and put your replicas through. As of update 2 of 9.5, we actually added more features into the gateway, which allowed our customers, our VCSPs, to access customer VBR consoles remotely without the need for any VPN connectivity as well. So we offer that remote management. And also the VAC, or the Veeam Availability Console, does all of its work through the Cloud Connect Gateway. So again, the Cloud Connect Gateway is central to everything that we're doing at this point in time. So even if you're a service provider that hasn't looked at offering Cloud Connect Backup or replication, it's time to take a look at how you can actually leverage Cloud Connect and the components to offer VAC and also offer the agents. So just working through these bits here. It does remote management and monitoring. So this is also handy as well. Not only will it monitor a remote VBR instance and show you operationally what's happening on there, you can then also look at the job, see if any of it failed, and through the console, you can actually then go in and restart that job, retry it, or stop it, control it completely. It's also got great reporting from the point of view of being able to extract what has happened on a remote VBR server and bring that into a central console for you guys to look at and see what's happening. So it's a great management tool for that purpose. In terms of the multi-tenancy, the key part here is that we've got 3 tiers of accessibility into the console. So the console allows a top tier VCSP to create another layer below that, which might be a reseller or partner. And then below that, that reseller or partner can create customers. And then from a single web UI, each layer can then log in and see what they've got access to. So we've really taken this multi-tenant concept and extended it to this availability console as it stands. In terms of invoicing, so it's got its own internal invoicing system, which, you know, for a handful of you guys out there, you might have your own billing systems that are tapped into your environment. So you know you don't need this. We're not saying it needs to be replaced by this. But the key part here is that we're offering this. So just like the other features that you've seen, the whole premise around the VAC, or the Veeam Availability Console, is that if you want, it can be a turnkey solution that you install and basically start that cloud business to offer services based on Cloud Connect or manageability of remote systems and agents. So just to finish off, I wanted to sort of paint a picture of the opportunity out there. So if you have a look at this diagram here, we've got on the left-hand side a typical scenario where a VCSP partner or a cloud partner, infrastructure provider, is offering Cloud Connect services. But what they're also offering there is infrastructure backups. And looking at the poll results as well, a lot of you guys were doing infrastructure backups, obviously. It's something that most MSPs, most cloud providers offer off the bat. If you look at the right-hand side, we've got on-premises locations, which include Veeam Backup replication, which require agents, and also Linux there as well. So we've got servers and workstation. And then I think most critically here, where I think the biggest opportunity exists, is in this public cloud space. So there I've listed, you know, Bluemix, Azure, AWS, and Google, but obviously this could be other public clouds as well. It could be public clouds in the VMware network. It could be Hyper-V-based clouds. It doesn't really matter, because what we're tapping into there with the agents is that in-guest OS capability to back up, okay? So taking that all through Cloud Connect, we can then take those workloads and back them up through the Cloud Connect gateway to the Cloud Connect repository. But not only can we do that for on-premises and public cloud through the agents, we can also do that from within your own infrastructure. And I want you guys to think about that for a second and think about the opportunity that exists to offer another value-added service to your customers. Because at the moment, if you are offering just you know, the great backup replication experience from VBR, that's fine. But that's obviously at a VM level, typically taken once a day, depending on, you know, what the customer might dictate or what you might dictate in your policy. I think what this offers in terms of being able to offer agent backups through Cloud Connect is the ability to give your customers a more flexible way to back up files, for an example, because obviously the agents can do file-based backup, they can do whole image backups or volume level. But what you're giving them is a bit more flexibility, and what it also does, it also allows them to consume more storage, which is obviously great for recurring revenue. Now, with regards to those Linux machines, because as I mentioned before, at the moment, they're not Cloud Connect capable, at the point in time, if you still want to leverage being able to offer a service to back up Linux VMs, be it on-premises, public cloud, or within your own infrastructure, you can do that by creating direct network connectivity to a Veeam Backup replication server that might be sitting in your infrastructure. Okay, and that's obviously done via either a shared services network or a IPsec or an MPLS. Anything that will create a network connection from the Linux agent to the VBR server, you can then offer the ability to be able to back up to there or manage a backup. So, you know, at the moment, the opportunity to offer backup services based on the agents is significant. And with the addition of the Veeam Availability Console, the manageability of that process becomes even more of an attractive proposition. So with that, I'll hand it back to Betsy and we can go from there.
Great, thanks, Anthony. And I'm going to, I think, actually hand it on over to Sam to talk about next steps.
All right, thank you, Betsy. Thank you, Anthony. Very good. So everyone, we'll kind of start off the session here just talking a little bit about an overview of Veeam, kind of who we are, where we are. And Anthony did a fantastic job talking about the opportunity with the agents and the Veeam Availability Console. Hopefully you can all see that it's a tremendous way for you not only to add value for your customers, but also to make some really good profit margin with that. So let's make sure we're taking advantage of that. Now let's talk about some of the next steps really for you to take. First of all, if you haven't already, please take the time to join the VCS program out there. It's no cost to you. It's just an opportunity to go on and to be part of the program out there. Now, it's pretty easy, quick steps here. Go to veeam.com and you go to the tab for Veeam Cloud and Service Provider Program, and just with a couple of clicks, be able to get you to the right place to be able to do the registration on this. So you'll just kind of go through a registration screen, and as you're filling out the information, you'll do the submit on that, and within a day or two, you'll be getting a response from one of the cloud specialists at Veeam to be able to help you with the process there. So very simple process to be signed up as part of the VCSP program. As you're talking with our service provider specialists on our team here, they will be able to help outline some of the opportunities for you, some of the other different benefits of the program, some of the different ways that you can go build out your certifications and to be able to take advantage of some of the different marketing aspects we have as well. Now, if we talked about this earlier with the Veeam Agents for physical, we are providing these as free for the remainder of this year. So it's a great way for you to go download these licenses for free to be using them in your environment, actually providing the services for your customers to be able to make money off of that for the remainder of the year. Of course, as you're doing that, you'll be building out your pricing models now and into the future. But just a great opportunity to take advantage of this program while it's active for the rest of this year.
Yeah, just to add to that a little bit, the free licenses that are available are for the agents, also Veeam Cloud Connect, specifically for the agent backups. And with version 1.5 of Backup for Microsoft Office 365, you'll be able to get free licenses for that as well. These are unlimited licenses. They're regular VCSP licenses, so they include the extended usage rights that you need in order to use the software not just in your own environment, but in your customer environments as well. The other thing I wanted to mention, not part of the free offer because they're free management tools anyway, but you can definitely use the availability console that Anthony talked about. There is a release candidate of that available now. The regular GA should be available very soon. The way that the licensing for that works is you do need to have a license, but it's a free license. So it's a free tool. We don't charge for the management. What you would where the charges come in is with what you pay to or what you manage through the console. So Veeam Availability Console is free. VBR, Agents, Cloud Connect managed through the console. That's where the usage reporting and usage fees would come into play there. I've also listed Veeam Backup and Replication here because with 9.5 Update 2, And even prior to that, there's integration with the agents. That can be another place that you monitor, and with 9.5 update 3 coming out in the next several months, would also be able to configure and manage agents through backup and replication. So a couple of different options, in addition, of course, to scripting and third-party configuration management tools that you can use with the agents. I do want to mention, because I'm seeing a question about this with backup for Office 365. Currently, and with Word version 1.5, that supports backup of Exchange Online. But we have announced, and we're actually currently developing backup for SharePoint Online as well as for OneDrive. So those are expected in version 2. Version 1.5 and version 2 are actually being developed in parallel. So we won't have to wait a whole nother release cycle after version 1.5 to get the SharePoint and OneDrive support. That'll be coming a little bit sooner. Here's a URL where you can go to request your free licenses. You can see it's a really simple registration form. You just enter some information, indicate which of the products you'd like to use. The terms and conditions are really pretty straightforward. You just have to be in the VCSP program. So Sam talked before about a good next step if you're already in the program would be to join that. So I'd really encourage you to do that. We also have some FAQs about the free licenses and what you can do with those. So those are also available on this registration page. And Sam, do you want to finish up?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Betsy. And then the last thing to mention here is we have various opportunities for you to attend product demos out there. They'll be part of some of the links that are provided to you as well. But when you have the chance to be on the Pro Partner Portal out there, you can go on and sign up for the different demos to be able to look at. It's a great way to get technical overviews, positioning overviews, marketing overviews for you to be able to position this with your customers out there. So please take advantage of the Pro Partner Portal there to get into these different demos.
Yeah, and these are public demos, so you can just go register and then show up. But of course, our VCSP specialists are always happy to do one-on-one demos as well. So contact your Veeam channel manager or partner manager, or if you're new to the program, you can just email one of the addresses here, whether either the North American or the LATAM email address. And then the last suggestion is, in addition to getting product demos, again, you don't have to go it alone here. Another great resource is the VCSP forum. This is part of the Veeam community forums, and it is for service providers. So it gives you great connection to Veeam product management, also other service providers. We have a great service provider community, and I'm always impressed by their willingness to share suggestions and ideas and so forth. So it's another benefit of joining the VCSP program. It is a closed forum, I guess you would say, so you have to be in the VCSP program in order to use the forum. Again, join the program if you haven't already. Join the Veeam community forums, and then go request membership in the VCSP forum. And that process is described on the page you see here.
Okay, so Betsy, I believe we have a few questions in the chat, or maybe just some other questions here. It looks like several of them have already been answered. But do you want to open it up for questions here, or those that are being asked in the chat?
Yeah, so we've got some good questions, some of which have been answered, but other people might have the same question. And I think there's a few in here too that are really Anthony questions to answer. So Anthony, can you pull up that question window?
Yeah, got it here. Okay. Look here. I'll just go through them. There was a couple ones I did ask a few. Just got to go back and check them now. All right, I think one of the good ones that came was from Kirk, where he said, can the agent back up to Cloud Connect and to local storage at the same time? The answer to that's no at the moment. So at the moment, there's only one backup job that can be configurable. But as I replied to him, that's actually something we've obviously heard through feedback that customers want. And so, yeah, we're going to be obviously trying to fit that into the next versions as they come out. But there is kind of a way to do it. It's a little bit of a hacky way, but if you do a search for Luca De Rocca's blog, Virtual to the Core, he actually has the solution to actually get it going. It's a little bit messy, but it does work for the moment. But suffice to say that in future versions, that will be possible. Okay. Let's take a look at some more. Sorry, just working through the questions.
There's a long one from Mike. I don't know if you want to address that
Yeah.
or do that offline, or.
I might take one offline. Yeah, a couple of these are offline type questions. Is there a way to spin up? Is there a way to spin up? Okay, so Brent asked, is there a way to spin up a backup image of a physical server as a VM? Can this be done through Veeam Cloud Connect? That's exactly what you can do. So that's pretty much the whole premise of being able to back up a physical to virtual in this sense. So when it actually drops through the agent into a VBR repository, whether it be through Cloud Connect or directly, it's then has the ability to be restored in really any of the ways that you can restore a typical VM in backup replication. So if you right-click on that on that machine, you'll be able to then do a number of backup options, and one of them obviously is to back up to a virtual machine. And you can even take it to Azure if you wanted to. You can use the direct restore to Microsoft Azure. So there's a number of ways you can actually do that, but the short answer is yes. And then there's a question here, are there plans to integrate backup and replication with Azure Blob Storage? So we utilize Azure Blob Storage as a repository. So that's a good question, and hopefully you're up to date with the announcements that we made at VeeamOn, but if not, one of the announcements that is in V10 of our product that we are going to have what we call an archive tier, and that archive tier is effectively going to be an extension of our scale-out backup repository, which will have an archive option, and that archive option can go to any number of public cloud object storages, and Azure Blob is one of those. So yeah, I mean, you can do that. It won't be primary. It'll be archival, but you know, if you're using those sorts of technologies for storage, in theory, you're wanting to do that as a secondary location, not a primary location. But yeah, that is possible when V10 comes out.
Hey, Anthony, I see a question here I think we should clarify. The question was, can the Veeam agent back up to a local VBR free edition and then have VBR free edition do a Cloud Connect replication? So I believe the answer to that actually is yes. The agent can back up to local VBR free edition, and then from VBR free edition, you can do a backup copy to Cloud Connect.
Yeah, I think so, and I think that's the way that people are doing that local and off-site as well. So yeah, that's another way to get around it. But the free edition part is interesting. I have to double check that. Just take it offline. I mean, I'm not sure if the free edition has the service provider tab, so we'll have to double check that. But let's just say that in theory, yes, and we'll clarify if otherwise. But it's worth a shot, that's for sure.
I think with the paid version of the agents, you can do that. So you can, it has to, either the agent or VBR has to be paid, but with paid agents, you can use VBR free edition and do what they're describing here. I'm like 99% sure.
Yeah. Okay. And then Alexa's got a question as well. Can Veeam replicate endpoints? For example, back up them through the Windows agents, store the backups in a backup replication server, and replicate through Azure. So we don't have any replication into Azure at the moment. It's not. I guess it's not in the short-term outlook, but it's something that we're offering. We're looking at, obviously, like everything. So yeah, the short answer is no. I mean, the agents themselves don't have replication functionality. So you can't do what you can do with Cloud Connect replication for workloads that are on premises to a cloud location through the agents, as an example. But yeah, the way that you could get it to Azure is via direct restore to Microsoft Azure. So you use the agent to copy the VM into a Veeam backup repository, backup replication repository, and then from there recover using direct restore to Microsoft Azure into Azure. So that's certainly not replication. That's more the restoration of a VM, but that's the way you look at it and do it today. What is the URL to download the Veeam availability console? It's a very good question. I'll just take that very quickly. So if you guys are not members of the Veeam community forums, log on and basically grant access, if you're a VCSP, to the VCSP forum. In the VCSP forum, it's the download to the RC. So to gain access to that, please join the forum.
Yeah, and we can stay on. We can stay online for a few more minutes to answer additional questions if they, you know, coming in. but if Sam, if you want to go ahead and wrap up the presentation part.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining today. Anthony, Betsy, thank you for your presentations. Very good information. So hopefully all of you can see that there is tremendous opportunity knocking for all of us out here with the Veeam physical agents and the Veeam availability console for us to go out and provide that value for your customers. So please take advantage of this opportunity. Go on and be a part of the VCSP program. Go into the Pro Partner Portal, get signed up. Download these agents and start utilizing them for your business out there. And if there's anything that we can do to help you to simplify the process or to help you in the process in any way, just please let us know, and we're looking forward to help you grow your business. So with that, thank you very much, and look forward to working with you.